Darwin Winklaar, Neo Divino. I'm from Aruba. I'm 28 years old. I live in Amsterdam, and currently we are now in Amsterdam Museum witnessing the Maasdamme Collection. I work with different multidisciplinary works. I'm a multidisciplinary artist. So that means I work with fashion, with music, trying to combine these two worlds together with drawing, performance, sound, smell, creating a multisensorial experience. So my work is always constantly delving into the rituals of my mother's upbringing, delving into the more indigenous aspect of it, the culture of Aruba, the folkloric culture of Aruba, and yeah, and bringing more of this new take on what is the Aruban identity for me. Today I will be carrying you guys into the different passages of Rita's work, different symbolisms, the rituals that Rita's put in his work. So I really wanted to kind of like bring the more yeah, symbolic side of the Aruban culture that we don't know yet about and the history behind it. Why I have so much love and honoration and veneration for Rita's work is because she really brought a beautiful world, as I like to call it, a magic realism world of what is the Caribbean and Aruba for us. So basically, when I graduated, I also presented those as my end graduation project. So for me to see her work, putting details into the folkloric way of sewing the patterns, into the beautiful shoes that she makes, that is like the apargatas. You know, all of these details that comes back into the culture, I have also delved into my own work. And I was like, oh, this is exactly what I'm doing as well. And that's why I'm so inspired by her work, because it's an honest account of how she was feeling at that moment. It's an honest account, a genuine account of how her spirituality also was. And she left that into her work. And that's why you can see these dolls also almost alive. And wanted to talk to you. So, and that's something that that's why I felt very emotional during her process, because I was like, wow, I want more people to feel it and more people to witness this beautiful craftsmanship that she put into her work. I feel that what Rita wanted to tell with this diorama is that the mixture between the religious and the mixture between the folkloric aspect. So basically, when you have a religion connotation in the Caribbean mixed with the indigenous part, it's much more of a syncretism. You're talking about syncretism right here. And basically, that world is very important because now you see that no longer we celebrate only the Catholicism side, but we also celebrate what is our roots. And you can see it also between the folkloric side of it. So the music, the kahi-arkel, which you can see here, you can see why the music is also important when we start doing the dances, the 3x4 dance, the traditional costumes or traditional fashion that we have to wear to do these dances. So I feel that the part of the religion and the indigenous Afro-Caribbean spirituality, the crossover, I see it very, very prominent in this diorama. So I feel like this is also what I felt that Rita wanted to tell about, the juxtaposition between these two worlds. But at the same time, it lives very, it could be very negative and positive in our society, and especially when we talk about colonialism. And I feel that this exhibition of Rita talks about, well, touch upon the slavery aspect of it. So we have to also acknowledge that religion also was brought to us and through our indigenous, indigenous practice. How these two worlds come together with the crosses and with the kahi-arkel, for me, I connect it with the spiritualism, the letting go, the healing part of it. So basically, of course, the dying part is much more connected more of the crosses, the dying part of these accidents next to the roads. But at the same time, we use music, we use dancing, we use ritual as a way of healing as well in the Caribbean. So that's why for me, they come so hand in hand together of letting go and the healing journey. So that's why for me, that's the connection for me. That's when you die, when these men die next to roads, they leave their family behind. And most of these families of course, stay with this longing, this sadness. And for them, of course, they have the culture of the healing part, of the spiritualism part, and that's the music part of it that helps them to go through this yeah, pain. So that's why the aspect of religion and the music side comes really close together. That's how I see it. When we see these crosses, we don't think much more of only a death. But then when you go more um, like to the back curtain of it, then you realize that, oh, whoa, these families are healing through music. These families are healing through dancing. These families are healing through, you know, using what we have in the Caribbean. It could be the sea, it could be the nature, to actually go through this pain. Um, and, um, and of course, these crosses are shrines next to the roads, but I see them also like a kind of like an alert to kind of like with telling the community that no, like slow down, don't be one of an extra crosses next to the roads. Um, and um, and I think that's why I want to put more emphasis in there, because the 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 riding car really fast in Aruba is something that is very alarming. So I really wanted to bring this forward here as well. There's a lot of still people, yeah, getting crazy accidents next to the road. So I feel that I don't know what has to happen in the society to make this a change. Of course, the government slowly are implementing like roundabouts and creating a safe haven on the road for the people. But at the same time, it's still embedded in the culture that yeah, I don't know if there's gonna be any solving method for this, but I feel like if I start talking about this, I will bring awareness into going more slowly and going home more ease, instead of like really going hard or racing on the streets just to like prove something. So Fort Zoutman is the one of the first buildings that actually was made during the slaveries as well, when it's basically a tower to kind of like look around the like Aruba, because Aruba was very, in that time, very clean and very plain still. They didn't have much of the buildings yet coming in. So basically it was where soldiers were kind of like using that Fort Zoutman to kind of like guard watch, no? The coast of Aruba. And not only that, but we also connected with Padu del Caribe. We see also Padu del Caribe here playing, and I feel like what Rita wanted to really say with this yeah, installation is that also giving tribute to the folkloric music of Aruba. Padu del Caribe is one of our heroes when it comes to our folklore music. He is the father of the folklore music, and he and Rufo Waver was one of well, they were like the main artists who brought who created the anthem of Aruba. So that's why Padu is very important for us as well. Um, and most of the Padu Caribe songs was very a hit in the Caribbean and also going through Venezuela. One of his first music release that he released was Padu del Caribe and Venezuela. So that was the title of his music, or his first disc. And through that he got very popular since then. And he really defined what was the main focus and the main rhythmicality of what is today the traditional music of Aruba. So I wanted to also emphasize on Padu del Caribe, because also it's very important to me, because I also witnessed his funeral, and I also performed for him at his funeral, and I thought it is also important to venerate him and honor him. And I feel that, of course, in our generations where we are now, the young generations doesn't seem to grasp much of our culture and actually yeah, use it more into their daily life practice. And so I felt like, no, I really want to talk about Porto del Caribe and what he meant for us, and still the meaning for us on Aruba. So basically, we are looking at a ceremony, party, a celebration between different neighborhoods coming together. So in that time, so basically we used to do a lot of like ceremonies, or like, let's say, gatherings with traditional music, which is that tambu we see also here. We see also the music that plays a lot in Curaçao, which is also connected to Aruba, which is the musique di zumbi, which is the music of the ghosts. So all of these different elements was a celebration to kind of like come together. And we use a lot of the wiri, which is, this is like the, yeah, the main instruments that we use, which is the tambu, the wiri, and we have maybe the chapi that also can be lead with the wiri. Sometimes we have the cuarta, which is like this kind of like a guitar aspect of it. And through that, going to like a ceremony, yeah, like a dance, the danza, the waltz. Then you have the tambu, the dande. You have the traditional music of different elements that comes from different coasts of in the Caribbean and coming together. So it was much more like this mixture between different genres, as I like to call it. Through music of Aruba. So here you can see really like, I feel like what really Rita really wanted to portray is this this gathering. It's a gathering, and this gathering goes through also, like I said, the spirituality, using the music to release, using the dances to yeah, to celebrate the body, because I feel like in that time body was very important during the rituals of yeah, especially for the indigenous aspect of it. I think we all forget that Aruba was a sanctuary for our indigenous ancestry. So basically, our ancestors would come to the coast of Aruba to bury their ancestors, and basically and do a ritual before they let them go. So that's why music was also important, and especially the tambu. It's such a yeah, historic element when it comes to yeah, to use it as a way to let go of the dead. For me, the ceremony sometimes it can be very intense for me, if I have to be very honest, because it's such different beliefs and creencias, as we like to call it, coming together, and you see this music activates the body. You see the music activates a certain way of movements, and the certain way of movement becomes like this really repetitively way of doing, like, almost like a chanting ritual, no? But when you really go through this experience, or especially my experiences, yeah, witnessing the music, witnessing the dances, it was always like, I am part of this as well. They never let you aside. They also want to involucrate you to yeah, go through this dance with them as well. So of course, when you're on the side, you can see it as a very intimidating happening. But when you're in it, then you understand why it's important to us to release through the music and the culture and the beliefs. And especially, as I mentioned, the connotation between the two worlds of the religion and the indigenous aspect of it. It becomes really the syncretism world, and it becomes a healing, a powerful methods to let go. So for me, it was also like that. It was also a healing and letting go power, to decolonize my body, to reclaim my identity through these sounds, and use them into my own practice again. So that's why I'm so inspired by this gathering, because the music, when you're in it, with all of these people coming together, you really feel the authenticity of the Caribbean. The first moment when when I look at the diorama, especially this part of it, is touching different parts of the daily life of the Aruban identity or the Aruban lifestyle. So especially how we used to wear our clothing and what it meant for us and how it was made. So of course we have the traditional shirt, which is the kashaka, which you can see also the doll on the donkey, and also you can see the type of shoes that we used to make there as well, which is actually the apargatas. So for already capture that how it was back then, shows a lot of that we were really someone that worked with the ground, the soil. And coming back to that, it was already with the aloe, so the aloe plant, the plantage of aloe, and that was very important to us as well, because that was like a huge company harvesting the first kind of like products of Aruba. Yeah, of course, most of these products also, or these plants needed water, and then we needed also to focus on like the fishermen next to the seas and how important the fishermen are now in daily life on Aruba. Most of the fishermen there brings the food for us, and most of them also dies in big sea. So it's also like this challenging, not giving an homage or veneration much to them. And I feel talking about also how the indigenous part of it, we were like really hunters, you know, living next to the coast. So also what they were using with specific rocks and to make them more as a hunting tools to get yeah, to find their necessity to eat. So so I really wanted to capture this because I feel that we still have these methods that is back home, but at the same time it's not much appreciated because we only see the capitalism side of it and only making money out of it, but we also have to acknowledge that they are putting also their life to risk, going to Big C and going to going to find the food for us, but at the same time sometimes they don't come back. And of course most of the boats that they go through, they have specific numbers on them, specific names, so if something happens, they know and they can identify the boats. So these are like characteristics of the Aruban identity, which really makes it really unique, and it is what it is for us, no? So I wanted to really capture this, and at the back you can see really like the kasi torta, and that's how they call it. So it's made of different elements of the nature, how they plaster. So really you can see these were like the houses back then. It still exists now on Aruba. They really try to preserve it for touristic attractions, of course. And most of them also are being demolished by the nature because they're really getting old and things like that. So it's, for me, like to see this diorama being really captured in 3D. You can really witness that you can be there on Aruba in nature and the landscape. So this is, for me, what I saw immediately, the daily life, the house, the way of harvesting, the way of getting their food, the way they meticulously craft these tools to hunt and to get their food. So yeah, it was almost like going back to maybe my grandma's ages and witness what she went through and all of the stories that she told us as a kid as well. And then I can see it really, really right there in my eyes. So that's why it's really special to me. This this diorama, no? That you can, I feel like I'm at home. I'm in my backyard with my people, and as well, like, okay, I can see it immediately, you know, maybe one of my friends bringing the fish for us. So it's really like, you can see it, you're in the garden right there. For me, carnival means celebration. It means different culture coming together. And that's why for me it's very important to touch upon carnival because that is also the point where music was also starting to grow on Aruba, especially when it comes to refinery. So you see, you had in that time you had a lot of people from Saint Martin and to Tobago coming to Aruba to work in the refinery, and from there on they brought their own elements to shape yeah, the culture there as well. So it really influenced a lot, and of course Saint Martin and Saint Saba and Saint Eustatius, all of these places also carnival is really big there. So to bring these elements there on Aruba was also a refreshing take on how we start adapting these rhythmicalities. And for me, when I go through carnival, it's this procession because it's also onto the street, it's onto they celebrate it onto the roads, which takes hours and hours to get ready, the costumes and all the works, the details they put into it, that makes a grand parade to celebrate with music. So for me, carnival has been a very significant part of Aruba or Caribbean in general, because I feel like that moment is the moment where everyone really let go completely. Where everyone comes as family, where everyone put efforts in coming with their family, going to the road, what to wear, what to eat, specific yeah, specific detail they put into these roads, sculptures, as I like to call them. Like almost it becomes this altar with queens. We celebrate the queens there. We celebrate the calypso, and we have the tumba. Tumba is a very popular genre that we use to sing about the almost like gossiping, but you're doing it through a music. So we use tumba as a methods to kind of like criticize what is happening back on Aruba. So that's why for me carnival is essential when I say letting go, because you're really like letting go of all of the frustration, the fear, also the happiness, just to kind of like go through this yeah, this parade, as we like to call it. And of course, when you can see here, it's a difference. Like you have the feathers, you have the shiny stuff, but all of these things also comes from different elements of different cultures. And this is the beauty that I like about carnival, is that there is no judgments there. We don't see it as we have to look a certain way. No, we see it as a celebration, a complete celebration of Aruba, a complete celebration of the music, a complete celebration of our ancestors, a complete celebration of what is actually Aruba, which is the mix of it all, no? That makes it really authentic to me. So when I go there, when I go back to Aruba for the carnival, you know, for me as a child, carnival means to hear the big truck with music along the road with really big bass coming and going from a place to another place. So when you hear that already, these big trucks going with music to San Nicolas, where I am from, as a kid you already start to feel like this. You can see I'm getting like really excited, because I know how it felt when these big trucks go through, because we as a kid, we feel it. We go already, like we get out to the home and we want to see the truck pass by, because we already know that carnival is going to start. So that is already like a signal of yeah, we have to prepare now. We have to really let go now. We have to really enjoy these moments now and come together. So this is carnival to me. At the same time, there's also things happening there in social dynamics, you know, that is also questioning the people, questioning the culture, questioning also the, you know, the LGBT community, you know. So that's also something that I'm also thinking also here in my head. Even though I love where I come from, but also there's a lot to be done still. And of course, even though that we can get a glimpse of Aruba, a glimpse of what it is, you know, when you activate these houses, when you activate these installations of Maasdamme, you also activate the parts that what actually also Maasdamme wanted to tell about, which is also the negative part of it. It's not only the beauty that all of this handcraft, but also she touched upon very hard and harsh topics that people don't want to hear about or don't want to talk about. But this is why I feel I'm so connected with Maasdamme's work, because yes, it's a beauty. Yes, it's so much beautiful work, and it touches you from the core. But the important is that you are reflecting the time that you're in, and she has done that. And that we can still use her work to talk about these situations and still reflect on these situations back then. So that's why I feel like it's so important to bring this collection back there, because it's going to stir a lot of conversations. And I feel that it's going to be positive and also negative conversations that we need to have. Yeah.